Over the last year, a group of us collectors have gotten together every now and then to have a discussion. The four gentlemen that are joining me today go beyond just collecting. These guys are storytellers, historians, and lifelong fans of the game that we all love. In fact, I'll say these guys are obsessed with baseball. These guys all run great YouTube channels, and tonight I want to hear more about them. How they came to have this obsession with digging into the soul of the game. So, grab a seat, settle in. It's always a great time. So the first guy bringing on is Drew, Clean Cheap Shots. How you doing, Drew?
Hey, Hugo. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Drew. It's good to see you.
Good to
and
see you.
Guys, if you don't know Drew, you can find him in the great outdoors, seeking adventure among cornfields with beekeepers, seeking out payphones, and just showing cards, but always sharing stories and bios on the players that we love. So I always appreciate the stuff, Drew.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we're going to bring in the second guy here. We have Mike, the sports history collector. How you doing, Mike?
Good, thank you. How you doing?
Great, man. It's good to have you on. And Mike is, he lives up to his name. He knows his sports history, and he shares his knowledge with fun, informative videos full of photos, clips, music, which we all love. And you're likely to see an autograph of the guy that Mike's talking about. So we love that about you, Mike. It's good to see you, brother.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
All right. Now we're bringing on, please bear with me here. There he is, Rob, baseball time traveler. How you doing, Rob?
Very good, Hugo. Very good, gentlemen. How are all of you?
Good.
Doing great.
Good, Rob.
Doing great. All right. Well, if you guys don't know Rob, he is another one that lives up to his name. He takes us back to a point in time, and he loves to discuss not just like a particular game or a series, but he shows cards while doing it, and he likes to discuss what society was like back in those times, which is always a nice trip to go back in time. So we love that about you, Rob, and your channel. So good to see you again.
Good to see you, Hugo. Thanks very much.
All right. Now we're going to bring in the guy that I kind of call like the captain of the crew here. I don't know. I think Gordon is just seems always to be in control. Just I don't know about the other guys, but Gordon, welcome. It's good to have you on. You guys that follow me are not familiar with Gordon. What the best way I can describe it is Gordon makes videos that I could sit and watch all day long. Not because he's talking baseball and covering guys that I love to learn about, but it's really just the way he pieces his videos together, the timing, and especially his voice. He just has one of those baseball voices, and I could just listen to Gordon talk all day about baseball. So that's our intro. I have to read a little bit, I just, it's a lot of pressure here. This is, I'm in the presence of greatness, so, yeah, but
you're doing fine.
Yeah. Now we have, with this group here, we have done a few of these before, 3 in the past. So this is our 4th time getting together, and, it's been a while. It's been a few months, and, he told these guys I'd take the blame for that. Life catches up with you, and then you're like, man, we got to find a date to land on, and that seems to be the hardest part sometimes. Talking baseball is no problem. Showing cards and talking about baseball history and players, it's fun. Just the matter of getting together. So, what I like to do is I'm titling this talk today, guys, as obsessed with baseball. All right, and I got that title from this little book here I've had for many years. This is from 2007. So this is a trivia book. It's packed with a few thousand questions. I think, 2,500 questions of baseball history. So what you do is you click this little button, and it takes you to a random question. And what I'm going to do is keep score here. Now we're going to have a new champion because, for those of you that have been keeping up, we have a 3-time champ, but he's not participating today, you know. So
Oh, I have a feeling
Because he cheats. He's a cheater.
I have a feeling you'll win anyway.
oh man, I don't know. Hey, my favorite baseball player is David Ortiz. What can I say? You know, so. And I got a Canseco jersey up on my room, so you know, make of it what you will. But
Hugo, you probably win these things because you got that book and you just know everything about baseball.
that's it, man. That's it. I've read it cover to cover a few times. So, no, really, it's just you know, it's crazy. This is battery operated, and this battery's been in there. Yeah, I mean, we're going on 18 years. It's been in this book, so it still works, you know. And I've used it quite a bit. So this is just for you guys, and it's just going to be random questions. Now, if we land on a question like, you know, say who's the all-time single season home run leader for single season leader in home runs for American League? Obviously, it's Aaron Judge now, but back then it was Roger Maris. So we'll have to go back in time, right, Rob? Go back in time to 2007. Now, hopefully, the questions will be a little more difficult than that. I know you guys don't like these underhanded pitches. You know, you want that. You guys want some fastballs. So here we go.
Well, I want some soft ones.
Soft ones. All right. First one, I don't know if you can see it, but I got 13-12 is the question.
Okay.
Now, these are in multiple guess options, but I'm just going to read the question and have you guys answer it. All right. 13-12. Here we go. Y'all ready?
Ready.
All right. Besides the Red Sox, what outfield was Harry Hooper, 1971, part of in which each outfielder hit better than 300? Besides the Red Sox, what outfield was Harry Hooper part of in which each outfielder hit better than 300? Boy, that's a tough one.
Is there a year?
Year. It says 1971.
Oh.
Let me verify.
What's the next question?
If you guys want multiple choice, I can.
No.
All right. Let me see what comes up.
What page was that?
It's question 13-12.
Okay.
All right.
Oh yeah.
You know what? You know what's weird? Here's the thing. They put 1971, but that's when he was inducted to the Hall of Fame. So
right, I was going to say Harry Hooper's an old timer.
Yeah, he's an old timer.
He played in the teens.
They ask it weird. So besides the Red Sox, what outfield was Harry Hooper part of in which each outfielder hit better than 300? So I guess it's looking for a team. Doesn't have to be a year, nothing. So just try to think of what team Harry Hooper played for.
Gosh.
All right.
I don't know.
And
I have a guess.
let me know when you guys all have it.
You got it. I'm not sure.
I have an answer.
You guys all locked in?
Yep.
Drew, what did you say?
I said the Reds.
The Reds. All right. That is going to be wrong because it's not one of the options. But sorry. Mike, what did you get?
I put the Dodgers.
Dodgers. Weird. That is also not an option. All right, Rob, what do you have?
I put Pirates.
Pirates. Strange. Not on there as well. All right, Gordon. Your only hope.
Says Reds.
Reds as well? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, nothing came. None of those. It was either the White Sox, Giants, Yankees, or Cubs. So I'm going to guess Giants.
See, he's going to win.
No.
I think it was
I'm out of it. It was actually the White Sox.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
so
I don't remember him playing for the White Sox.
that's weird. It says here White Sox from 21 to 25.
I'm still trying to think of Harry Hooper in 1971.
Sorry, man.
What?
They should have put there that it was, Hall of Fame 71. Because I was reading it the same way. I'm like, Harry Hooper, that's an old timer. All right, so man, a big goose egg for all of you guys. Sorry, man, I didn't know it was going to be that hard. Harry Hooper, who knew? Well, anyway, So we're gonna do more trivia here in a minute. I want to go ahead and get us started. And now, one thing that I love about baseball is getting to talk to other fans like you guys. And I love to hear how they got to the point where they love baseball. I said in the beginning, we're all obsessed. That I believe we all love baseball, and I want to know, how did you get to this point? Like, what was it? What was there a moment? Was there a game, something that happened in your life that made you fall in love with the game of baseball? So we'll go around the horn there. We'll start with you, Drew.
This was a really hard question, Hugo, for me. And I actually spoke to Gordon about it. There wasn't any one event, game, and I've thought about it a lot because you sent out the questions ahead of time. I've never listened to a Major League Baseball game on the radio. And when I was a kid, we only got ABC and CBS. We only had 2 TV stations. I don't honestly recall ever watching a baseball game on TV. So I think my answer has to be my love of baseball came through baseball cards, and quite possibly through, like, say, Sports Illustrated, because I did have a Sports Illustrated subscription back when I was a kid. I think looking at the cards, seeing the colors, enjoying the math on the back, and trying to figure out how did they get that batting average, that on base percentage, and things like that. I think that's my answer. I don't know, but that's the best I can come up with, Hugo.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. I mean, that's the first time I've heard that, actually. So that's why I asked. Everyone's so different how they came about.
I think reading those tidbits and cartoons and things like that on the back, that was always very joyful for me as well.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, thanks, Drew. What about you, Mike?
I would say similar. A lot of things all coming together at once. Like I kind of was getting a few packs of baseball cards, and I don't even remember the reason why I did that. But about the same time, I started Little League, and my uncle and my grandfather were big baseball fans. They always had the radio on, so I learned about Vin Scully for the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. And but what really kind of took me further than that and kind of solidified my love of, like, the history of baseball was about the same time I discovered they were showing a movie on one of the local stations called Pride of the Yankees about Lou Gehrig. And I just loved that movie once I saw it. Of course, I loved all the baseball movies. There were a lot fewer in those days. But that one really struck home. And they were showing it, like, every day for like 2 weeks, sometimes twice a day. I don't know why. But I just really loved that movie. And it got me interested in learning about him. And then players associated with him, Babe Ruth, the Yankees, all the other and then that, learning about that, then that kind of brought a new perception of current players, and and being able to compare stats and stuff, and that just really interested me. So I thought I would just show this real quick. This is a card I got. Is this showing up with the writing correct?
So let me see if I can get you up on the screen.
I show it as backwards, but I think that's
we see the writing in the correct orientation.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was a card. This is a relic card with from about the movie, but with a piece of Yankee Stadium brick. And
Hugo, I think if you double click on him, maybe it'll
double click on him. All right, sorry guys.
I think so, or maybe not.
I love the card though, Mike.
Yeah, it's one I'm going to use with I'm actually going to do a wall hanging of stuff, autographs and cards or whatever from the movie.
Cool.
I've been working on that for a little while, but it's kind of slow going.
Yeah, I never. Crazy thing is, I never watched the Pride of the Yankees. I don't know if it's because I grew up near Boston and it was banned on local TV, but I never watched it. I watched Pride of St. Louis, the Dizzy Dean story. Now that I did, but not Pride of the Yankees. So I don't know, but that's interesting. Yeah, the Yankees will get you. Their history, and just how can you not fall in love with baseball after learning about Ruth and Gehrig and Murderers Row and stuff. So yeah, that's fascinating. How about you, Rob?
All right. Well, I'm going to have to show some cards. We're going to
right.
flashback. You know me. I time travel. We're going back to spring of 1964, and that was going to be my first year of Little League, and my dad took me to the local sporting goods store in Pasadena, and it was owned or operated by Irv Noren, who was a former Yankee, Washington senator, and had a very very good career in Major League Baseball. So I got a chance to meet my first major leaguer.
Wow.
Where he set me up with, I got a few cards of Irv. He set me up with my first glove and my first bat and my first set of cleats. And I was able to go to opening day, and I found this photograph recently, April 25th, 1964. So this was my introduction to Little League, which led me to go to the local store and buy my first baseball cards, which this was the card I was chasing for years. And this is not the actual card, obviously, but this is the card because Willie Mays was my guy. And then the following year, I was drafted into the majors, and this is opening day the following year, and I was given number 7. I was on the Yankees. So I had to start buying or, collecting Mantle cards from 64. Mm-hmm. And then here's the last photograph, me trying to be Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays all in one. So I have fallen in love with baseball since then, and I'm actually still playing today. I'm on a softball team. We went to Utah a few weeks ago, and I don't know if you can pick that up. Let's see. Anyway, it's a 70-plus team. We went to Utah, played in the Huntsman National Games, got a silver medal in our division, and I'm still playing. We have opening day here in our community tomorrow. So baseball is continuing, and I love the swing. I love making good contact, love making catches in the outfield and throwing people out. It's cool stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hugo, what's the age requirement for your Cubs corner thing that you did?
That is 75 and up.
Oh, Rob.
Yeah, that's my latest video. And I just went to opening day. It was this past Thursday. And then yesterday they had their second round of games. So on Tuesday, they play Tuesdays and Thursdays. But awesome league. Yeah, that's goals for me right there, Rob. I would love to be playing in a 70 and up league. Yeah.
That's awesome, Rob. That's great.
Yeah. How about if you just feel like you're 75? Can you play then?
Hey, I'm playing with guys. In our community, we have 8 teams. We have a Thursday league and a Monday league. The Monday league is for the guys who've played for years and years and are slowing down pretty dramatically. They're 80 plus usually. And then our sub 80 guys, there's guys in their late 70s who are still smacking the ball around pretty hard and can still. The biggest difference you see as we age is our speed. And that's one thing I've been able to maintain because I stayed in pretty good shape throughout. I never really stopped running. So that's one thing that and I really enjoy chasing fly balls down in the outfield. It's cool stuff, It is. But if you guys aren't playing, join a league and get back into the game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key thing, just staying active, and it won't be so difficult to get, into it eventually, into a league. So that's great, Rob. And I love the story too, man, meeting a ball player way back then, the date and everything. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, well, he won at least a couple of times with the Yankees when they were playing the Brooklyn Dodgers back in the early to mid 50s. So it was quite a thrill meeting a guy like that.
Yeah, for sure. They'll do it. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, sure. How about you, Gordon?
Just real quick, Rob, the last time I played softball was a 40 and over D league, and we couldn't keep a team on the field. People were getting hurt every week. So I don't know how you're doing it at 70, but every week somebody was getting hurt,
we have the same issues. It's really injury avoidance is the goal. So.
Mm-hmm.
I get hurt doing my videos. You think I'm kidding?
So Hugo, I'll try and keep this short. I'll probably fail in doing that. But I also thought long and hard about this question. And for me, I think it was a combination of things. Cards definitely had an impact because I there's something about, I think one of the things that Topps has done a disservice to kids today is packs are so expensive. Back when they were 20 cents or 30 cents, whatever they were in 1980, I don't even know what they were. They were still affordable, right? I mean, I was getting $2 a week for cutting the grass. And so I could buy packs every week. And I don't even know what a pack costs today. It's crazy. It's overwhelming. Like the price when I see them hanging in Walmart or whatever. But the cards definitely had an impact. Mark Fidrich was a big thing for me. So I grew up. I was born in 71, and Fidrich was huge in 76, 77. So I was right at that age where everybody was talking about him. I was going to card shows initially with my next door neighbor, who they had 3 boys, and the dad was a collector, and all the boys were collectors. So we would go to all the shows that were local, and then we'd drive out. I grew up in Southeast Michigan, so we'd drive out as far as like Plymouth, Michigan, to go to big shows. And shows were pretty big in the 80s, Now here locally, you have to really dig to find a card show. But so I think a combination of those things, and then really the 1984 Tigers, they came at the right time. I was 13. I was just consumed by them that year, and it was just a magical season. They started out 17-0. They were 35-5. My good friend Rob, the baseball time traveler, sent me the 1984 Tigers. Thank you, Rob. Unsolicited.
I remember that series very clearly because I had just moved to San Diego, and they were playing the Tony Gwynn and Steve Garvey and Greg Nettles Padres.
And Steve Garvey was a little bit of a local hero. Steve Garvey went to Michigan State, so he was well known in the area. But you see Dan Petrie here was kind of, I think he was probably the number 2 behind Jack Morris. Dan Petrie, Milt Wilcox, but Petrie now does color commentary for some of the TV broadcasts, and he's really good. So I think that those combination of things, and also I wanted to mention This Week in Baseball. This Week in Baseball was huge, man, because we got that once a week. If I remember right, it was a half hour. I'm pretty sure it was a half hour on Saturday morning, and that was like the connection for old guys like me. I don't know who's watching this. I don't know how young people are, but we didn't have the ability to look up. Is that Mel Allen?
Mel Allen in the 1930s.
Yeah, I mean, how could you? I can
and that's
hear
Red Barber. Mike might recognize the name Red Barber.
Oh yeah,
he preceded Vin Scully.
I can hear the This Week in Baseball theme music in my head. I can hear Mel Allen. I remember the dun, 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 and you see Jim Palmer throwing the I mean, it was just great. That was just like must see TV. And maybe now, because like there's quick pitch, like you can watch on MLB Network 24 hours a day. It's just not as special. It was like, and we didn't have TiVo or direct, any way to record stuff. So you had to be there to see it. And we lost Hugo. There he is. So I think those combinations of things, it was just things happened at the right age for me. Like I said, the cards were affordable. The Tigers were really good in '84, and just all those things kind of combined for me.
Yeah, that was a great time. That was a great stretch there for Tigers fans. The Bird bringing in so many fans. Just to watch and that late 70s time, and then it led up to that championship in '84. Too bad the Bird wasn't a part of that team.
That's too bad. Yeah, we had some good rookie class in that '78 because we had Trammell, Whitaker, Parrish, and Jack Morris all came in that rookie class.
If I remember correctly, in '84, Morris threw a no-hitter against the White Sox.
He did.
I watched that on TV.
Yeah, I remember it because it was a really cold day. It may have been opening day. I don't recall, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that on TV.
And that's not a time of the year where you want to extend a guy. I don't know how many pitches he threw. It would be interesting to go back, but that's right.
Yeah, and they had the Cy Young and MVP of that year, and that year too. which was Willie
Willie
Hernandez.
Hernandez.
Guillermo. Yeah.
Guillermo, yeah, that's it.
Senior. Yeah, he was elite that year with that screwball. And
Yeah,
yeah.
baffled guy.
It was
Yeah.
a perfect storm.
That was a great year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. I've told you guys before. I moved to the U.S. in June of '86, and then I went to my first in-person game in June of '87, and that's what made me fall in love with baseball the most. I already was liking it. Then when I went to Fenway Park, just being there with the crowd, we were sitting out in right field. Dwight Evans was right there close by the bullpen. It was just, the atmosphere was awesome. They were playing the Orioles. This was June 30th, 1987. And it was, it was a wild game. There were a lot of hits, Cal Ripken and Eddie Murray, it was that great Orioles team. And then the moment that did it for me is the Red Sox, they were down in the game. Then they came back and took the lead. And then it was like around the sixth inning or so, Wade Boggs hits a home run. It was an opposite field shot. And, the crowd lost their mind. But then Mike Greenwell came up next and hit a home run. So they went back to back. And Mike Greenwell hit a home run that landed just a couple of rows right in front of me. Wow. So for a kid that, to go to his first game, almost get a home run ball, the Red Sox won. The crowd was going nuts. I loved everything about baseball. I had my Fenway Frank there, my first one. Great hot dogs. It was the perfect experience for a kid. Like, that was the first time I was like, man, I'm a real American boy. It was just I'm an all-American boy now. It was just a great memory. And then with me, it was very similar. With you, Mike, I got into baseball cards right away. 88 Topps was the year I started collecting. And this is Greenwell, who got fourth in Rookie of the Year that year. And then I also started Little League.
Yeah.
And there's this little Hugo. And then on the back, they ask you to name your favorite pro. And right there, you got Mike Greenwell. And
that's a great piece to have.
Yeah, I had to put the Gator on there. Who we lost recently, about a month ago. So Mike Greenwell passed away. But he, created a lot of great memories and got me really into loving baseball cards. And then I went down that rabbit hole that I don't want to get out of, so. Yeah. So that was good, guys. You guys ready for another trivia?
Yes,
Sure.
Sir.
All right, here we go. I'm going to press the button. All right, 1796. Man, all the way
Sounds
back
easy.
here.
Okay.
Here we go. 1796. All right. Which Reds player scored a winning run on a wild pitch in the 1972 National League playoffs? 1972 National League playoffs. Which Reds player scored a winning run on a wild pitch?
72.
72. Yep. I guess that's like the start of the Big Red Machine.
I don't know when Sparky Anderson became manager.
Yeah, he was manager in at least 70.
I'm ready. I don't know it, but I'm ready.
Anybody else need?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. I feel like I should know this one.
I can see the pitch and the play, but I can't.
Oh yeah. All
Can't
right.
see
Wow.
who's
So, all right. Drew, what do you got?
Ken Griffey?
Ken Griffey. I don't see him on the list, so I think that's going to be wrong. Sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
I put Bobby Tolan.
Now, Bobby Tolan is on the list. That's probably going to be my guess.
Wow.
All right, Rob.
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose is not on the list. So, how about you, Gordon?
George Foster.
George Foster. He is on the list. Now, we got Tolan, Foster, Tony Perez, and Al McRae. I'm going to pick Bobby Tolan. It's wrong. Oh, my goodness. The answer was C, George Foster. Oh, man.
Wow.
A point for
Okay.
Gordon. All right,
So
good
I
job.
got to tell you, the only reason I guessed George Foster, I was at a card show a couple weeks ago, and he was there.
Oh, no
So-
way.
Yeah.
Oh, man. If I had known, I would have had you get an autograph for me. All right, that was fun. All right, so
So
George Foster. Now that's one guy that's he is a non-Hall of Famer, but had a great career, MVP, and won a couple of championships. So another question I want to ask you guys is, the Hall of Famers get a lot of love, and we know quite a bit about them and their stories, but I always get a kick out of learning about guys that don't get talked about much, non-Hall of Famers, guys like George Foster. So I was wondering, who is someone that's not in the Hall of Fame that you guys find interesting, that if you got a chance to meet him, like say at a show or wherever, and you could ask him something or whatever, just to hear his take on whatever, who would it be and what would you ask him? So go ahead, Drew.
You're not going to like my answer. I kind of cheated. Yeah, and there's going to be some groans, but it's Pete Rose, and let me explain why. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand he had some character challenges, right? But when it came to baseball, in interviews, he was always unapologetically honest. If you asked him a baseball question, he didn't tiptoe around. You got a straight answer, right? Yeah. And so that's one of the reasons. But I would like to ask him, because he was not a great athlete. I mean, he's the all-time hit king, but I think he would tell you that he wasn't a great athlete. I'd like to know why he succeeded. And I have a feeling that those answers would help us through other avenues of our life. My guess is it was confidence, and he just outworked everybody else. That would be my guess. But yeah, I think Pete Rose would be a very interesting conversation. I really think that, again, he would provide very honest and direct answers where I think others would tiptoe around. Pete Rose was a guy, and I hate to make this comparison, but Mookie Betts is a guy that he's been asked to play this position, that position. Pete Rose did the same thing. He came up as a second baseman. He played third. He played first. He played the outfield, and he never complained about it. He just loved to play the game. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah. I can respect that. Like you said, the way he played the game and his honesty. Now outside of baseball, it's a different story. But I did get to meet the man once, at a show, and he was very honest with me. I'll tell this story another time. Okay. But yeah, Pete Rose. It's good. All right, how about you, Mike? I know you've met a lot of guys.
Yeah. I would say that one person I had never met, although I did get a through the mail autograph from him when he was alive, is Carl Erskine.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just such a gentleman. Whenever you ever heard him do any kind of interviews and stuff, he was just the nicest type of guy. But I would just think it would be just so cool to talk to him about Ebbets Field, what it was like to play there, all the characters that were in the stands, that were the normal people that came to all the games. He was there when Jackie Robinson broke in. He played on all those teams that didn't win, and he was on the 55 championship team. He pitched 2 no-hitters. So he just had an interesting life too after baseball, and all the challenges he had with his son, who had Down syndrome. Mm-hmm. And I just think he'd be a fascinating person to talk to for several hours.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. When I was thinking of the questions to discuss today, Carl Erskine fit in a few of those. He's just such a man of character and integrity that, I just thought, man, what a life he lived, So, yeah, that's good. I'm glad to hear Carl Erskine's name mentioned. I appreciate that. How about you, Rob?
Well, a few months ago, I kind of did a switch of direction on my channel, and I really started to focus on the 1930s. And the reason why I did that is, in my perspective, being the oldest of the gentlemen on this panel here, I lived through a lot of stuff that a lot of the younger guys talk about and wish they had seen and all that. So I decided, well, I'm familiar with all those guys, the Sandy Koufaxes, Willie Mays, all those guys. I watched that. I was fortunate enough to watch them play. So I switched focus to the 1930s. And I really feel that the 1930s for the hobby has a blind spot. I think most of us are very familiar with the top names, but there's so many players that I think if you threw the names out, they'd have a hard time placing teams, let alone what they did, etc. You know, as an example, 1934, 17 of the 18 starters made it into the Hall of Fame. 17 of 18. I don't think you could say that today. I think to this year's All-Star game, I don't know how many guys are going to make the Hall, but it's going to be real interesting to see. But anyway, the guy that I wanted to bring up is somebody that I would doubt any of us have heard of. His name is Bill Werber. And he's written a book. He's long past now. He passed away about 20 years ago. But he wrote a book about baseball in the 1930s. And let me just show you a couple of his cards.
Wasn't he a Tiger?
No, he played. He came up with Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig of the Yankees in the late 20s. Then he spent some time in Boston and ended up in Cincinnati and won the World Series in 1940 with Cincinnati. But what fascinated me, and I'm just kind of getting into the book now, is that all the guys that I've been focusing on, you know, I've collected probably 75 of the 1939 play balls. I've started collecting the 1934 Goudeys. I've got my Lou Gehrig Goudey up there now, or actually I'll show that to you in a few minutes. But it's just fascinating the time that these guys were playing. You know, they're in the midst of the Depression. Things are starting to heat up in Europe, or our relationship with Japan is starting to deteriorate in the mid-30s, all sorts of things going on. And these guys played the game, and they played a game that to me was pure. The batting averages, we're not even within 100 points of what a lot of those all-stars did in the 1930s. So it was a different game to watch. You saw a lot of hitting. You saw some fantastic pitching, but the hitters oftentimes outdid the pitchers. So I just think it's a great era. I'd like to talk to him specifically about what it was like to be in the dugout in 1930. We kind of get a feel for it when we see the movie The Natural, because that took place in 1939. So you get that just simplistic, the stadiums, the old feel of it. I'd like to interview him. That'd be kind of fun.
Man, that's great. Yeah, what an era in baseball history, you know? Like you said, so much going on, and just things were definitely different back then, you know? And just to hear, you know, Mr. Werber talk about it, his experience would be great. Yeah, that's a great choice. All right, thanks, Rob. Yeah, how about you, Gordon?
Yeah, I love this question because really my whole YouTube thing is about non-Hall of Famers and sharing their stories. That said, the guy that I picked is somebody that I have not done a video on. I would like to do a video on him, but it feels too big. It's too big for me to get my arms around, and that's Dusty Baker. I just think Dusty's kind of, this may come out the wrong way, kind of like the Forrest Gump. Like he was there, or, you know, in the scene of like so many things in baseball. You know, he played with Hank, and he was instrumental. I learned while researching Fernando Valenzuela that he was instrumental in helping Fernando, because Dusty's mom was bilingual and she raised Dusty to speak Spanish, and so he was key to helping the Latinos integrate into the Dodgers back then. And then, of course, his career managing. I mean, the guy is just like, he's just been around forever, and I can't believe he's not in the Hall of Fame as a manager, or, you know, some other vehicle to get into the Hall. So it would definitely be him. You know, what would I ask him? I can't even think of, like, if I had one question. That's too little time. But man, I would love to take that guy to dinner and just hear him talk.
That's great. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, he must have some great stories. You know, I mean, he's been a baseball lifer, right? Yeah, but, you know, he's one of those guys that, you know, as a player and a manager, I mean, you combine the two, and, you know, I know they separate it for the Hall of Fame, but I really think they should do the whole body of work. Like guys like Felipe Alou,
Yep.
even
Felipe's
Joe
another
Torre. Joe Torre got in. Joe Torre was a great ball player, and then of course as a manager he was great. But guys like that, Dusty Baker, I think he'll get in. Now that he's got a championship, he's got 2,000 victories. I think it's just a matter of time. He should get in. But that is a figure.
It's the same old story where people look at just some stats when they were players or how many wins they had as a manager. But when you were a player and a manager, that whole body of work should count for something.
It should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if he's going to get in, man,
who's on the ballot now, Mattingly, he's been in baseball, basically his whole life. He didn't really take too much of a break between playing and managing, coaching, and I think he still might end up, as the Yankees manager. So we'll see, but that's a lot of time spent in baseball to not get honored, but
you can make a similar argument for Bill White.
Bill White.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Great ball player. He was the NL, was he commissioner of baseball or the National League?
National League.
National League president? Okay.
Yeah.
Man.
He got close. Didn't he get close in the last voting? I thought he came pretty close.
I can't remember how many votes he got.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But he was on the ballot, which, it's like building momentum, I guess. But, in the future. But, yeah, that's good. All right, so you guys picked some great guys. Men that, I guess you could have a lot of respect for. Now, the guy I chose, it's not that you can't have respect for him, but I'm a big goofball. Like, I'm wearing a Don Mossy shirt. Because I just, I like the lighter side of things, and I just get a kick out of guys who are out there, just different personalities, like the Bird, Mark Fidrich and stuff. But I chose Bill Lee, who, if you pose wearing that outfit to pitch, as the spaceman, right? And, and he signed his cards. That's his rookie card, Bill Lee, Earth 2022. He's just a character. And we're talking about, people playing baseball past the age of 70. He's still able to pitch. He played with the Savannah Bananas, and I'm not sure if he's still active, but I'm sure he's throwing the ball somewhere, And I would just like to, I still had the opportunity to meet this guy, and I would just ask him, hey, tell me the greatest story, that something you experience in baseball that's just like the greatest story, because I'm sure he has hundreds. He's played in so many different leagues and played in the senior league back in the late 80s here in Florida. Of course, Red Sox, Expos. He's just been through it all, got hurt in a fight, and all kinds of stuff has happened to this guy. So he's still going, still has a great attitude. Guys send him, autograph requests still, and he still signs. He asks for beer money, so a guy like that, he's got to have a great sense of humor, and I would just love to hear his story. So Bill Spaceman Lee is my choice.
Good pick.
Good
pick.
Yeah.
My daughter went to grad school in Savannah, and so we were out there and we saw the Savannah Bananas. He wasn't there that day, but I think he had a heart attack in the bullpen or something for the Savannah Bananas. So I'm pretty sure that's accurate, but I don't know if he's still playing or not.
I think it is. Sounds like I've heard this before. Yep. Man. Wow. It's too bad. You could have seen, one of these living legends. He's not the Hall of Famer, but everyone knows Bill Spaceman Lee, I think, So, yeah. Now, speaking of his antics and everything, baseball has such a fun history when it comes to like different quirks, different parts of the baseball culture, like Gordon, you've done, a video on, bullpen carts and things like that. There's just parts of the game that I just find fascinating that are cool, So I asked you guys, what part of the game's culture fascinates you the most? Just talk a little bit about that, give examples if you can, maybe some players, just something like, the superstitions of baseball, whatever it is, barnstorming, something along those lines. That's what I was looking for. So what do you say, Drew?
Well, I say that you skipped question number 3.
Yeah, I might
Just,
go back to that. I see that we're running pretty high on
yeah.
time
Well,
here.
Yeah.
We might circle back to that one.
all right. I was giving you a hard time. All right.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, no, I think the unwritten rules of baseball are interesting to me, and I wrote a couple of them down. Just for example, the catcher and pitcher's respect for each other. Okay, say there's a foul ball, it hits off the umpire, right? I'm sorry, let me back up. The catcher and the umpire, the mutual relationship of respect between those two. So you got a foul ball that hits the umpire, right? The catcher used to be able to take his time, kind of walk out halfway, give the ball back to the pitcher, give the umpire a chance to kind of regroup, and vice versa. When maybe a foul ball hit the catcher, the umpire would go out halfway, throw the ball to the pitcher, come back, brush off the plate, those sort of things. And then I wrote a few other ones down. You don't bunt to break up a no-hitter, right? Once upon a time, you weren't supposed to admire your home runs, but now they sort of embrace the bat flip crap. Sorry, did I say? Don't walk.
It was about to go off.
Yeah, you look at that. You got my blood pressure up.
Mine's going up now too.
I gotta have a break. Let me keep that water here to cool me down a little bit. Don't walk in front of an umpire and catcher when you're entering the batter's box. Don't look back at a catcher's signs. You don't talk to a pitcher while he's throwing a no-hitter. This one, I remember this one for the A's. Braden, I forget his name, but he got into it with A-Rod because A-Rod, coming back from first, walked across the pitcher's mound.
Across the mound, yep.
Dallas Braden. Dallas Braden. There we go. I think warming up on the infield. So yeah, the unwritten rules of baseball I've always found to be very interesting. So
yeah,
I
agree. Yeah, it's funny. Like some of these that you mentioned, I always think, well, some of it is like common sense that you want to look back at the sign, but yeah, it's trying to get an edge, right? I mean, we didn't, like playing baseball, street ball, whatever, growing up, we always try to cheat, I mean, we already went over this, who I idolize here, anything to get an edge, so the unwritten rules sometimes just like, oh man, I can understand a few of them, but some are just kind of silly, I think, but fascinating nevertheless. Yeah, good stuff. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, very similar to Drew. I was going to say superstitions / unwritten rules. I think Drew covered the unwritten rules pretty well. I was going to mention the one about going across the pitcher's mound and the bunting to break up a no-hitter. That's it wasn't that long ago. If that had happened, when that guy came up the next time or the next batter, he would have been on his ass. With a high hard one.
Now they do a bunt to break up the no-hitter and do a bat flip while they're going to first, right?
Yeah, and they think it's a real big deal. It's like I don't know. Anyway, don't get my blood pressure up. The superstitions like not walking on the baselines when you're going out to the field, you hop over them. That's been going on for as long as I can remember, and still does. The turning your cap inside out for the rally cap. I just funny thing is I read a stat on that recently that said that teams that do that have a higher percentage of coming back historically than the ones that don't do that. And I'm sure it's just random.
It's scientifically proven.
I tell you.
It's funny you mentioned that. I didn't see any rally caps during the World Series in Game 7. Blue Jays fans, I don't know if Canadians are anti-rally cap, but I didn't see any.
Who was the fan that he had the shoe on the head? Was that the Seattle series, or was that
the shoe on the head? Right. Who was that? Was it the Blue Jays?
I don't remember.
It was Seattle.
Was it Seattle?
I want to say it was Seattle.
What a great playoffs, huh?
It was fantastic. The best series I've seen in a long time.
Oh, yeah. Probably the best I have seen, personally, I can't remember a World Series this. I mean, I was nervous. I'm not even rooting for either team.
Yeah.
But what an ending. Yeah, that was good, Mike. All right, how about you, Rob?
Well, I took the route, Hugo, that you might appreciate based on where you live. And
right.
I know you've done quite a few videos on spring training.
Yes.
So I'm always been fascinated by spring training. I got a nice little itinerary of the 1938 spring training for the New York Yankees. And that's Joe McCarthy, the manager, on the cover. Well, it's kind of a fascinating little, pull out. Got the roster of all the players. So I can just picture these guys, and travel by train. They would all go to, from wherever they came from. They would travel by train or by car. And here's an example of 3 Yankee players who many of you would be familiar with. Crissetti, Lazzeri, and DiMaggio all drove together from San Francisco to Florida to spring training. That was one of the famous stories that none of them really talked. They were very quiet guys. And then the anticipation of the new season coming up. And here's the 1934 schedule and so forth. And there's Carl Hubble on the cover. And, just from a collector's perspective, there's so many great little photographs of all these great players, Jimmy Fox and the other guys on there. I can't read it from here, but, Jimmy Fox and Dizzy Dean and so forth. And just, anticipation, guys getting into shape. Here's Bill Dickey, obviously, training a little bit. Here's a shot of what I believe to be Lou Gehrig's last spring training in 39, because you've got Henrik there, you've got Joe Gordon. They joined the team in 37, 38, and Lou is looking pretty bad right there.
Man.
And then to finish it off with a couple of more positive pictures, this would be Dizzy Dean. They went to they ended up going to St. Petersburg later on and would often play the Yankees. And here's, speaking of that, this would be Lou and Dizzy Dean at spring training. I thought that was a pretty cool shot.
I love it. Wow, that's a great one.
Yeah, just love the whole the anticipation of the year starting. Yeah, I mean, it's great stuff.
Man, I love it. Yeah, I gotta figure this out for next time to blow up. Because I love to see those pictures. The thing is, Rob, some of those locations still exist, and I like to visit them. And I'm actually working on a Dizzy Dean video, and not to give too much away, but in that picture, I believe they were training in Bradenton, and he had a house in Bradenton. So that's where my video will be, and that's all I'll say about that video. But it should be a fun one.
If you guys are interested, from a historical, there's so many great little 5-10 minute videos from the 1930s of spring training. They show the Cubs were in Catalina Island. The Pirates were in San Bernardino, California. The Yankees and obviously all the Florida teams. But it's just fascinating seeing a lot of these old clips and the players. Frankie Frisch up there as the manager of the Cardinals, and it's just a lot of fun, just for your entertainment. Yeah,
there's really nothing like it. I mean, like, the games don't count, but like you said, is that hope in the air? Everything is fresh. In a good mood and ready to go, and just a good vibe. Fans are coming down from cold areas, and they're enjoying baseball in February. What's not to love? February, March. So I love everything about spring training, even though it doesn't count. It counts for my love of the game. So that's good, Rob. All right, how about you, Gordon?
I'll make it fairly quick. The thing that I wrote down was scouting. I'm really curious about scouting. I actually have a friend. He's the father of a good friend of my son's, who is a scout, and I've been talking. We'll see. Eventually, I hope to have his permission to sit down with him and record him. Obviously, he's an active MLB scout, and probably rightly so, has some concerns about being on YouTube, but we'll see if that ever develops. But he's specifically they call him the ABC Islands. He's an ABC Island scout, which I don't even know what is that Curacao. I know Curacao because he tried to sign Ozzy Albies.
Okay.
And I don't know what the A and the B are.
Barbados, maybe.
Maybe.
And Phillies.
Pardon?
No.
I don't know. I should have Googled that. But
Aruba, Barbados, and Curacao, maybe.
Curacao.
that could be. That
Or
could
Bahamas, maybe. Bahamas. It could be Bahamas. We got it.
Have we had MLB players come out of the Bahamas?
I think
sure.
what's the Yankees guy? Jazz Chisholm. I think he's from the Bahamas.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Oh,
I could be wrong.
But this guy's, I shouldn't even say his name probably, but back when my son and his son were playing baseball together, he would show me videos of these academies down there, on the islands would send him videos of a guy running a 40 or, a kid throwing with a radar gun. And, these guys are 12 years old and they're trying to, they're sign these guys at I don't know what the age is. I don't know all the legalities. It would be interesting to get him on. I don't know if they have to be 16 or not, but they sign these kids for 10 grand at a pop and hope that they pan out. And the odds are that most of them won't. And how incredibly hard it is to scout at that age and kind of try and predict, what is this kid going to become? It's hard enough to scout kids that are juniors in college and figure out what they're going to become. But so I think the whole scouting thing is really interesting to me and the way that teams prepare for the draft. You don't have to spend too much time on Baseball Reference and look at previous drafts and how many first round picks never get a cup of coffee. So, it's just the odds are so tough. And then you get guys that are like 30 round picks that end up being all stars. Right. You just never know. So that's it. That's what would interest me.
Yeah, that is a fascinating part of the game, because these guys have to go out and find this talent, and it's. I'd love to hear. I hope you get this guy on. I'd love to hear it, from his perspective, because these guys all look so good. I would be signing everybody. So how do they determine who are the standouts? Yeah. So, but they do a pretty good job because it's rare that you hear of some phenom that was overlooked. Those stories are great, but they're rare too. So these scouts do their job really well. Yeah. So that's good. All right. So for me, sticking with my silly part of the game, I like the pranks, man. Like the pranksters of baseball. And I'm going to highlight a guy here. Now, this guy played with Eddie Watt's teammate, and that's Mo Grabowski.
Yeah.
Mo Grabowski is probably, of all the big pranksters in baseball history, he's up there as one of the biggest pranksters. Now, he was a good ball player. He won. He was on the 66 championship team and the 70. And, he had a decent career. He went on to coach and manage in the minor leagues. He had a good career. So he was serious when it came to game time. But this man, he would go all out. Of course, you guys know about the hot foot, lighting matches on people's feet. You see in a Major League Baseball movie, and, he would do those a lot. He would stick snakes in people's bags and just like scare his teammates. What's another thing he did? He would call the opposing team's bullpen and pretend like he was like the manager or coach and get other guys to start warming up.
Wow.
Confusing. Like, why is that guy up warming up? Who told him to warm up? It was Mo. So,
that's great.
he did a lot of crazy stuff. If you look him up, I can't get into too many things, but he even like rented an airplane where it flew a banner over the stadium and it said, "Good luck, birds, beware of Mo," because he was on the prowl, so he was going to get you. So Mo Grabowski is just a character in baseball history, and you got to have fun. Baseball can get slow moving sometimes, and you got to have these guys around to keep things light. And I think what a way to break the ice, or build camaraderie amongst friends when you got a guy like this just involving the whole clubhouse. So I think those guys were really important in history. They don't get a lot of love because we're seen as goofballs and not very serious, but they were good ball players when you look at who are the biggest pranksters, you know? So that's the part of the game I really enjoy. Now, I messed up here, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but I skipped the trivia question last round. So
I think
we're going to go back to back.
No, we just stop with the trivia.
And let's play two.
Yeah.
Done.
All right, the number comes up is 1932. There you go. That's
Rob
Billy
Nolan,
Weber.
32.
That's Billy Weber's,
Yankees beat the Cubs.
Let's see,
That was the
1932.
year Babe Ruth
Yeah,
called the
Babe
shot.
Ruth. There you go. All right, here we go, guys. Boy, these are so random. All right, now these were fresh back then, but which manager was ejected from a 2000? You know what? I don't know if I should read this one. We should probably skip this one and go to a better one.
Okay.
Who cares about the 2005 NLCS game, right?
Lupinella.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's not one of the answers. So I'm going to skip that one.
All right.
Oh, I got it right. It was Tony La Russa. Anyway, here we go. Sorry, guys. That was a bum. That was a crappy question. All right, 1566. Let's see what we get here. Obsessed with baseball, 1566. All right. Oh, this one should be good. First, right away, it says Mickey Mantle, so it's got to be good. Here we go. Mickey Mantle hit a home run in 9 different World Series. What former Yankee is the only other player to home in 9 fall classics? That's a good question. So he hit a home run in 9 different World Series. What former Yankee is the only other player to homer in 9 fall classics? Man, great question. Yeah,
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Yep.
All right, I got it wrong. All right, you guys all ready?
Yeah.
All right, what do you got, Drew?
Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra. Okay. What do you got?
Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra. How are you, Rob?
Lou Gehrig.
Lou Gehrig.
Oh.
That's who I guessed. And what did you get, Gordon? Yogi Berra. All right, well,
It's Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra is the answer.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rob.
That's
I'm
okay.
thinking Gehrig as well, but yeah, Berra. That's right. Man.
I listened on the radio yesterday to Lou Gehrig hitting a home run in Game 3 of the 36 World Series. So
Wow. There you go.
another way to enjoy baseball too. Drew mentioned he never listened to a game on the radio. You want to go back and you can listen to some classic games.
Man, that is awesome.
Yep.
That is awesome. Yeah, man. See, Berra's not one that comes to mind right away. You forget, he had some pop in that bat.
Yeah,
And he had
played
played in a lot of World Series.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, man. All right, so you guys.
So I win.
Drew gets a point. Gordon gets a point. And
Mike gets a point.
Yep.
We're done.
Yay.
We're done, right?
Well, we're gonna do one more trivia question.
No.
Yes.
Stop
let's do
there.
this. All right, so 334. Let's see what comes up. That was good. You guys did well that round. Oh boy. All right. Let's give it a shot. All right. Mark Pryor, who's the current Dodgers pitching coach, struck out 10 or more batters in 3 of his first 5 starts in 2002. Who was the last rookie before him to accomplish that feat? Struck out 10 or more in 3 of his first 5 starts.
I got it. I got an answer, but whether it's right or not, to be determined.
The guys they put down had pretty good rookie seasons.
I wonder. Okay. We'll see.
I'm going to go with. All right, I got it right. I heard you could probably hear the little bell. So.
Randy Johnson.
Oh, what was it, Drew? What'd you put?
Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson. Good guess, but that is not correct. Sorry.
I put Bob Gibson.
Gets another good one, but nope. It was more recent than that. What do you say, Rob?
Oh, it's more recent?
Yeah, more recent than Bob Gibson.
Oh, forget it. I'm done then. You mean older or younger?
Like it happened sometime in the last 45 years.
Oh, I'm done. I was going to say Bob Feller.
Oh, Bob Feller. Oh, sorry.
Talking about a 16-year-old.
Mike Gooden?
Yeah, Gooden.
That was good. That's a great guess, but Gooden, believe it or not, did not get 10 or more batters the first three of the first 5. It was actually Fernando Valenzuela.
Oh my gosh, that was good.
Fernando Mania was also on the ballot, but I don't think he's going to get much love. Although he did, great things for baseball. He got a whole new demographic in baseball, So
I went to that game at Dodger Stadium his opening day, 81.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was a big day for Dodger Stadium for sure.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I could time travel.
Man, that's great. All right, so let's see if we might have time for another question, but you guys.
I got to drop off here at the bottom of the hour, so.
All right, so I asked you guys to show a card of a player that when you see it, it makes you stop and think about the person behind the photo. Maybe this person, it was his personality, like his integrity, his character, or maybe he was just someone who was misunderstood, or somebody who did something beyond the game. Just when you see his photo on a card, you don't necessarily think of the ball player. I guess it's like beyond the game. So, what do you say, Drew?
Well, if you watch my channel, this is going to be an obvious answer, but I'd like to explain why. And it's Eddie Watt. And so I've been so fortunate to get to know him on YouTube and off YouTube, having breakfast with him and talking on the phone. The stories are great, but I told him and his daughter, I had breakfast with them here recently, and I told them this story, and I'd never told anybody before because I didn't think anybody would believe me. But when I was a kid, I had a few cards. For whatever reason, I don't know how I selected them. I taped them to my dresser mirror, right? And not the other day, but a couple months ago, I went and I looked through all my old cards, and this was that card. And it's funny how life works, right? I mean, how was it this was one of the few cards that I had up on my mirror as a kid, and I would grow up and have the opportunity to interview Mr. Watt, and you can see where there was a tape on the back, and I don't know if you can see it here, but there's tape right in here as well. But so I told him the story, and I asked him, and this is the only time I've actually asked him for an autograph. Some people have sent me autographs of Mr. Watt, and he signed it. Now, I will tell you that if you ever purchase a card off eBay and it's signed Eddie Watt, it's a fake, because he will only sign it Eddie, which is his real name, to his family members and to close friends. And so him considering me a friend is something I'll cherish. So,
wow,
cool.
Very
Man,
good.
that's great. I haven't seen an Eddie Watt autograph, so it's nice to see one, Drew. Yeah, it's funny, I'm hanging out with a friend this Saturday, good friend, so now the way I think of it is like, it would be strange if I carried around photos of my friend,
yeah.
But that's how it is now with the baseball card of Ed Watt. That's your friend,
Yeah. So when I looked at that card, this is all the memories that I think of. And I think back to my young collecting days as well, because again, this was one of those cards I had on my mirror.
Yeah. That's awesome that you know him now and you guys are close like that, so yeah, the Eddie Watt interviews have been great. So I'm so glad you got to do those, Drew. That's
thank
you. Yeah, great story. So
I'm very lucky.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, Mike?
Well, I picked, let's see if we can show this without any glare, Warren Spahn. Every time I see this card, I just think about his time in the war and being injured and building bridges to get the troops across the Rhine, and then coming back and having such a long, distinguished Hall of Fame career, whereas a lot of players, like he didn't have much of a career before that. A lot of players that came back that did well were already kind of established players, your DiMaggios, your Williams, and that kind of stuff. But the war made him stronger, and that's what I always think about. And just and his personality, he was definitely had that greatest generation personality. When I met him, he was very nice, but kind of gruff. That kind of I don't know how to explain it, but that's just what it reminds me of when I look at that card.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, guys were built different back then,
It's a fact.
And, I mean, talk about a guy that you would want in a big game, because imagine what he's experienced in life. That a baseball game. It's like, man, no, this is fun. There's no pressure here. This is not real pressure.
That's what he said. He said, well, once he went through the war, it's like there was nothing that he couldn't handle on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Tough guys, man, and selfless guys too. They sacrificed, which is a dying trait, unfortunately.
That's a
this
fact.
world, but yeah. So that's good. Yeah. How about you, Rob?
Well, following the same theme, I actually did a video on this fella. This is Eddie Kazak, and Eddie was a guy who started in the Sandlots in early 1940s, worked his way up into the Cardinal system, and then he entered World War II and went over to Europe, was part of the D-Day invasion, and was seriously injured. His throwing arm was essentially crushed as a portion of a concrete building came down while he was trying to siege one of these French towns. And spent 18 months rehabbing, and then came back, worked his way through the minor league Cardinal system again, and then made it to the big show in 1949 and had a fantastic first few months, was selected by the fans to participate in the 1949. He started the 49 All-Star game. The tragedy is that he made such a fantastic comeback. 2 weeks later, he's playing the Brooklyn Dodgers, and Jackie Robinson slides in to base and essentially, for all intents and purposes, ends Eddie's career because he injured his ankle so badly. He never really came back. And this card means a lot because this was his last year, but he never made it to the Tigers. He ended up going back to the Cincinnati Reds, after the Cardinals traded him, but he never got to play for the Detroit Tigers. Ended his career playing a lot of minor league ball for the next few years. But he, to me, was kind of the epitome of just Mike was talking about, like Spawn. These guys were battle-hardened guys, grew up in the Depression. They knew what, how to handle life. And this is a guy that got the short end of the stick, but ultimately, prevailed and led a good life after that.
Yeah, that's good to hear. It's ironic that it was an injury on the ball field that ended his career, and not from serving in the war. So, but yeah, that's great that at least he had lived a good life. So that's good.
Yeah,
and we're talking about him. Here we are. 70 years later, still talking about him. So that's good. I appreciate that. Yeah. How about you, Gordon?
I know Mike's got to wrap up pretty soon, but I got a couple I want to show. One is when I look at this picture, I want to talk to this guy, and that's me.
Oh,
As a little Red Sox.
Oh wow!
I am over here. This guy. And
that's awesome.
This is another one. I was a Red Sox here too. Those were our look at this. Look at this guy played in jeans. I don't know. We didn't have quite.
You slide
but on a more serious note, similar theme. Mickey Grasso.
Yeah,
and we've talked about him before, but he was held by the Germans. He was a POW in Stalag 11B, and he escaped found a little boat and rowed it across the Elbe River, if I'm pronouncing that right. And just an incredible story. I did do a video on not him individually, but on POWs in World War II, and just have incredible respect and fascination for the guy. And then one more quick card to show you. When I look at this card, I just have to wonder, like, what is going on in his head, and why did Topps do this to him? The 52 Clyde King. This is the worst photo of Clyde King that you could possibly have. You know, you're wearing the Don Mossy shirt, and he's got some rough looking cards with his big ears, but poor Clyde King, man, that is just a terrible photo. He reminds me of Sling Blade. You know, you ever see Sling Blade?
Well, if you're familiar with football cards, Johnny Unitas has a very bizarre one as well, and I think it was late 50s, early 60s.
Is that? Yeah, he's got a couple of them, I think.
Yeah, just eyes bugging out.
Yeah.
That's a great card, Gordon.
How about you, Hugo?
That's great. Yeah, that was good, Gordon. I'm glad to see that you played on the Red Sox. You know, so that's
we won't hold that against him.
Speaking of Red Sox, actually, now you guys, you know, I appreciate that you guys cover these ball players that, you know, served our country and, you know, true heroes, you know, that before they even stepped on the ball field, you know, they were already considered heroes. So I, you know, and I like that you guys cover these men and keep their memory alive and you know, hopefully inspire this generation to, you know, see what men were like back then, you know, not that we're not, you know, but back then, you know, they proved it, you know what I mean? They had opportunities to prove it, and they did. They sacrificed. So I'm sticking with a ball player that I got to watch play, and every time I see his cards, I just think of, you know, how he was treated from a blunder in the World Series, and that's Bill Buckner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, I can't look at a Bill Buckner card without thinking of how, you know, how bad he had it, you know, for a while there. It got so bad that I was at a minor league game, Pawtucket Red Sox, and he was, I believe, like a hitting instructor, a traveling hitting instructor with the Syracuse Chiefs, which was the Blue Jays minor league, AAA minor league team at the time. And he came out and, you know, big crowds waiting. It was a day ball game. You know, so there was a ton of people that stayed waiting for autographs. You know, usually when it was a night game, they would leave and I would be one of the last few. But anyway, there was a ton of people, literally hundreds of people outside. And Bill Buckner came out, and I mean, he was hearing it from the crowd. I remember how intense it was. You know, this was like 1993. So, you know, years after the era in the World Series, the fans will still just let him have it. And he was a really nice guy. I didn't know he was going to be there, but I always carried index cards, and I got him on this index card. So he was signing autographs, you know, being really nice in the midst of all this, you know, so he could tell you what kind of man he was, you know, a tough guy, like he could take it. But on that day, the day that I was there, he broke, and he actually grabbed the guy that got in his face, and the guy was really nasty. Yeah, the guy was, you know, just wouldn't shut up, you know. And I remember so well that I thought, man, this guy's a jerk, you know, like he's already signing autographs, and you're in his face while he's signing autographs for kids, you know. And he was one of those like, hey, I sign for kids only, which, you know, I agree with, because the fan, you know, the adults were cussing at him and yelling nasty stuff, you know. The kids didn't care. The kids were like, wow, he's signing autographs, I'm gonna get one, you know. They probably didn't even know who he was, but you know, I knew, and I just thought, man, I got to see it up close and personal. And yeah, he actually grabbed this guy and told him a few things, you know, just, you know, to you know, that was in the time or place to do it, you know, to let it go, stuff like that. You know, I just remember him letting the guy have it. So he stood up for himself, which, you know, knowing what kind of man he was, it's surprising now, you know, but I guess everyone has a breaking point, you know. And he, I just feel bad for the treatment that he received from Red Sox fans through the years. And, you know, years later, when the Red Sox finally won the World Series, then it was like everyone's hey, now it's all's forgiven. Everything is okay. We forgive you, Billy. And I just thought, man, it shouldn't have gone down that way. You know, it just, so.
I remember seeing him. It was either a reunion event for the Red Sox, that team, or something. But they called his name on this. As you said, it was after they had won the World Series finally, and they actually gave him a standing ovation, and he was visibly moved. It was almost you could almost see the weight taken off his shoulders. At that point, and
I'm glad, because I'm glad that happened, because, the stress that his family was put under. And if you read, he was living up in Maine and Massachusetts, and it's still in New England. He had to get out of there because of his kids were being teased, and it was just miserable for him. So, the stress of that, that dealing with that for a couple of decades, and then finally winning, and like you said, just for him to be able to experience that, and now nobody was angry with him anymore. They were like, "Hey, we have a championship. It's okay, Bill." So
and that was before Twitter. Can you imagine if there was Twitter back then? Jesus.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
And the sad irony too is that was Game 6.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Fans, if you know baseball, give the guy a break.
Game 6, he shouldn't have been out there. They normally took him out.
Yeah.
In that kind of situation for was Stapleton, I think it was the other first baseman, and they didn't do it. And
they didn't do it. Yeah. They I think from what I've read, it's because they were like, hey, he's a veteran. Let him be out on the field when they win.
Yeah.
So he can celebrate, which is nice, but I mean, you got to win the game,
It's the difference between a good manager and a bad manager.
Yeah. I mean, and, you saw Game 6 in this year's World Series. There was a base running blunder.
Oh, yeah.
On second base there where the guy got doubled off. And, it affected Game 7 where the guy on third base didn't take a big lead because he didn't want to
goodness.
Off. So you see that, now I don't think Addison Barger is going to be, he's going to go through what Bill Buckner went through. It wasn't nearly as, big a deal, I guess. But yeah, unfortunately, Bill, but he didn't. Good thing he was able to, see where the fans embraced him and stuff. Like, 'cause it's a shame when guys pass away and they don't see themselves being inducted to the Hall of Fame or whatever it is. So, but yeah, you guys want to wrap it up here?
Yeah, I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah, I think we had some technical difficulties, but I'll have to work on it, with the StreamYard stuff. But yeah, so I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for hanging out, answering these questions, having a chat. Like I said, I appreciate all you guys and what you guys do on YouTube. The type of videos you guys put out, the topics you discuss, the scenes you choose, and the music you guys play, everything about it, the cards you show, the stories, everything is really, it just hits exactly what I like here on YouTube, for my whole experience of collecting, so keep it up, guys. And I can't wait to do it again. Hopefully sometime sooner than later. We don't have to go, a few months in between.
It's your turn, Rob.
So, yeah. No pressure, Rob.
We'll see you in 26.
Yeah, probably.
You got the holidays, so that's a good excuse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we started this thing in December of last year, and we found that the Christmas time, everybody kind of had time on their hands, so that might be a good time to shoot for.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right,
yeah. Thanks, Hugo. Hugo, you did a great job, man.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you,
thanks
Hugo.
everyone for watching, tuning in, and we'll see you guys all soon. Take care.
Hi, guys.
Thanks. See you guys.